Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of my wonderful and juicy and delicious little subscribers out there. And how I love you all, so, and I hope that you're all super duper well, super duper wonderful, and super duper delicious. And that life is treating you most deliciously wherever you are in the world. So what do we do? 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 1. My juicy little lads. Thank you, little lads. You're delicious and bright. Yes, they are, aren't they, my little beautifuls? Now then, so the time is around 12:15, midday, in our old England, my delicious little babies, okay, that you all are. And yes, the weather's very cold, lots of grey sky, rather miserable actually, my delicious little babies. So again, there is no surprise, okay, my delicious little babies now then. So yeah, it's the 14th of March today, my delicious little babies, 2025. And I tried to upload 2 videos on YouTube yesterday. This was from, way back in the, I do believe the early afternoon it was. And anyway, so this morning comes and then it says the 2 videos had failed to upload my delicious babies. Then it said that I had no data. Then I couldn't get on the internet, okay? So you have to, that doesn't mean no. So then you have to put in your password, like for your, like your internet and everything, okay? My delicious babies. So it just appears that these past number of days, it's just been non-stop flipping issues, my delicious little babies anyway. Maybe it's showing there we are the sign of things, my delicious little babies. Do you see what I'm saying to you? Yes, anyway. So I've got 2 pieces of information for you, okay, my delicious little babies, okay? And thank you so very much, for my lovely kind comments that I received and for me likes, you know what I mean? Thank you, and so very much love, okay? Peace, harmony and bright blessings, okay? To who it is, and also to anybody else who is so very kind enough to put a like or even simply just view my videos, okay? My delicious little babies, it's very much appreciated, okay? At least I know somebody's listening to me. Okay. Anyway, my delicious little babies. So what is it that I want to talk about today, okay? And sorry, and may your beautiful little selves and your beautiful little families all be fully protected. Okay, my little beautifuls. Now then, yeah. So just 2 videos today, okay? So then we'll have a little convo, okay, my delicious little babies. So this one here, this is on old BitChute, my delicious little babies. Mind you, he is on YouTube as well, or he was. I don't know if he still is, my delicious little babies, okay? Because I haven't advertised him for a while. He's came up after, long time, up on the feed on BitChute, my delicious little babies. He's now up to 12,000 subscribers, my delicious little babies. The search engine of your choice, should anybody happen to have any form of an interest. Some may, actually, with this, okay? Search engine of your choice, I just repeated that. Dr. Okay, capital D, space, Edward, capital E, Dutton, and then capital D, and then the capital T, space, Jolly, capital J, and then space, Heretic, capital H, my delicious little babies, okay? So it should read Dr. Edward Dutton, the Jolly Heretic, then space bar, BitChute, then you should have reached your destination, okay? Now then, I mean, he does make me laugh. Do you understand what I mean? My delicious babies. I just find him most amusing, but with anybody not in that way, okay? But he is rather amusing, bless, okay? Okay, it's just the way he comes out with things, you know what I mean, okay? And the video should read, that doesn't mean no, can we detect evolutionary, flip me, that's a large word for this time of the day, my delicious little babies, okay? Right. fitness based only on someone's voice. Okay, my delicious little baby, so I'm just going to repeat that again for you, shall I? Can we detect evolutionary fitness based only on someone's voice? Okay, my delicious little babies. Now, you're probably wondering, well, why have I wrote this down, my delicious little babies? Well, I'm going to explain. Because what the Jolly Heretic, I just call him the Jolly Heretic, okay? What he's talking about is that can you be attracted? So we'll have a bit of lightness in my video to you all today, my delicious little babies, okay? You know, because I mean, the last one is rather serious, but you know, we just need to lighten the mood sometimes, my delicious little babies, okay? So what he's talking about is that can you be attracted to somebody just solely by the sound of their voice? Okay, my delicious little babies, that doesn't mean no, okay? This video, by the way, is just over 13 minutes long, my delicious little babies, okay? And what he's saying is as well, what he's talking about is, which we've seen these over the decades, you know, like where it's a bit like a blind date. You know, so what they do, you know, and you've had all this kind of thing now, you know, on the poxy box in the corner of the room, my delicious babies, where one's, in some cases, they have not seen one another. So they do not even know what, you know, the other looks like, my delicious little babies, okay? If you remember, we had Cilla Black, you know, like back decades ago, you know, Cilla Black, okay? And I just used to think that was brilliant, that blind date, you know, because it was really good because you had the one behind the one side of the panel, then you had the other three, and then whether it was a he or a she, the single one here, they had to decide just by the voices only, you know, and, you know, sort of what their interests are, which one they would go for. Sometimes it used to, there we are, work, and other times it did not. Do you know what I mean? But then over the decades, they made it more, you know, like up with the times. You see what I'm saying? Yes. So sometimes you'd have a blind date situation. And then other times you'd have where, you know, they meet each other, you know, like that, you know, they spend a bit of time together. Do you see what I'm saying to you? Yes, okay. And there was another one where, what was it now? I'm going back years ago. What was it on? Was it on Channel 4? Where what they do is that they go for a meal. So whoever it is that they're going to, you know, have this sort of little date with, they go to their home, they have a meal, and they rate everything. So they rate the meal, they rate the personality, they rate the company, you know, like that. Okay, my delicious babies. Anyway, so there's been lots to do with all of this, okay? That doesn't mean no. So what he's talking about, there's this woman there now then, and she's, well, basically, she jilts your man there at the altar. Okay, my delicious little babies. I mean, flip me. I mean, that really wouldn't be very sociable, would it, my delicious little babies, you know, to be doing that? I mean, me personally, you know, I mean, I've been asked many times to get married, do you know what I mean? But I just prefer nourishment to punishment, my delicious little babies. Sorry. Okay, my delicious babies. I'm just having the crack with you, okay? But no, it is true. I have been asked to get married. There we are, quite a number of times, actually, my delicious babies, okay? But the one thing I would never do, which I always said no, you know, for my own reasons, you know, if something's not right for myself, well, I'm not going to put myself in that situation, simple things. Do you see what I mean, my delicious babies, okay? And really, you know, if you are a man or a woman, you would know, there we are, you would know this, you know, because you have to look beyond what somebody's looks are or what somebody's job profession is or what wheels, brum, car they drive. Do you know what I mean? You have to look beyond all of that. You have to look beyond the way that they dress. their birth rate, what you find attractive about them. You have to look beyond all of that, and you have to say to yourself, and I'm going to repeat this again, I said this well over, is it 2.5 years ago now? And I said, you've got to be able to say to yourself, can I visualize myself, there we are, waking up with the same man or the same woman for the rest of my life? And the reality is, Martelishtuk babies, if one cannot, then there we are, do not pass go, and do not, there we are, collect 200 ka-ching, 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 because it's just not going to work. And then what comes into it gets even worse, because you got that flipping damn well piece of paper. Do you see what I mean? Okay, at least if you're in a relationship, at least you can say to yourself, because I've had a few long-term relationships, Martelishtuk babies, at least you can just say, there we are, just walk away. Walk away. Do you know what I mean? And just not have all the stress of, there we are, a damn well piece of paper. I mean, I've met many couples in my decades, and of course me, there we are, been a reader for the decades that I have, okay, where, in fact, I talked to somebody, when was it, a couple of weeks ago, or a few weeks ago now, I spoke to somebody, even as soon as that, but I've heard this anyway over the decades, and I've known different couples, okay, and basically, they've not got married, they were just living together, as husband and wife, just without, there we are, the piece of paper, Martelishtuk babies. And they got on super duper deliciously well until, Martelishtuk babies, there we are, and I will repeat this, until it came to getting the old rock on your finger. Do you see what I mean, Martelishtuk babies? Then what did they have? No joke, swear down. For most who I've spoken to, there we are, they got divorced. And they wish that they'd not got married. Now, in some cases, they'd already bought their houses. They'd already done all of that. Do you see what I mean? Okay. So it's not like they had like the added expense, of marriage, okay? Because I've known a fair few as well. Do you know what I mean? Martelishtuk babies, okay? Where they're spending ka-ching, 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 which runs into grand's delicious little babies, okay, only to find that they've still got the flipping, damn flipping loan to pay back after there we are, they've got divorced, delicious little babies. Do you see what I mean, okay? And usually, once they get divorced, these are the ones who I've met for most, delicious little babies. They seem to get on better. Then what they then do? I mean, honestly, this is the truth. Everything I'm telling you, swear down, is the truth, okay? Then they have what's called, and I sort of step in there and I say, so what have you got here now then? I said, is this more like a friends with benefits situation? I do not mean benefits as in you claiming your benefits. I mean, where you sort of, let's just say, become acquainted and have a little bit of a rumble in the jungle, for old time's sake. You know that song? Rock me tonight for old time's sake. Talk to me, baby. You know what I mean, okay? Until in the end, in some cases, they'll stay together. They just stay that way, okay? And in some cases, they move back into the, which was once the marital home. And then there we are, everything rocks and rolls again. Just they're divorced, okay? In other cases, they live separately, and at the end of the day, they seem to get along a lot better. So there's all different types of situations now. Do you see what I mean, Martelishtuk babies? But anyway, so let's get back to the jolly heretic now, Dr. Edward, okay? Well, what he's saying is he does agree that, you can be attracted to somebody by the voice. Now, this took my noddle back when I was listening to this shorty video, Martelishtuk babies, because I remember going back decades ago. My beautiful, how I loved them so. My beautiful dear little nanny and granddad bear, okay? She absolutely adored that song. Lionel Richie. Hello, is it me you're looking for? You know what I mean? She just adored that song. And when you looked at the actual video to the song, you will know this, Martelishtuk babies. It was to do with this young woman who was blind. Do you see what I mean? Okay. So if you look at it, there we are. If you look at it, okay, and even with my beautiful dear little nanny and granddad now, okay, even going back all those decades ago, because that was, there we are, that was absolutely true love between my beautiful dear little nanny and granddad bear. Do you see what I mean? Absolutely, there we are, true love. Even before my beautiful dear little nana bear had met my beautiful dear little granddad bear, and then, you know, the same the other way round, before my beautiful dear little granddad bear met my beautiful dear little nana bear, okay? It was like love at first sight before they'd even, there we are, before they'd even met. Do you see what I mean? And my beautiful dear little nana bear, she was best friends, happened to be best friends with my beautiful dear little granddad's bear's sister. Do you see what I mean? Okay. So, and then that's how they, you know, they got together. Isn't that beautiful, my delicious little babies, okay? But it was true love. I mean, and the fact is, they had each other's, there we are, they had each other's back. Do you see what I mean? So, in other words, what am I saying? To make this very simple, like my beautiful dear little granddad, there is nothing in this world that he wouldn't do for my beautiful dear little nana bear. Nothing on this earth he wouldn't do for her. And vice versa. But he was very, what's the word? He'd buy her anything, he'd do anything for her. It was just no trouble to him. And he was blessed enough, there we are, to earn, there we are, an excellent wage, which was excellent wages in those days. Okay? My beautiful little nana bear, on the other hand, she was like, no, I don't need that. You know, thank you anyway, but I don't need that. Do you know what I mean? Okay. And she was the one who used to save, whereas the beautiful dear little granddad used to spend. Okay. So she was the saver and he was the one who used to spend. Okay. But what my beautiful little nana bear used to do, she used to make sure that the home was ran correctly. Do you see what I mean? Which means food, which means everything. And she knew how to spend. If you go back all those, there we are, those decades ago, you know, there we are, how to spend. And especially when it was decades and decades ago, when you used to have all of the, you know, because they went through the stage of the rations and everything, yeah. World War II, my delicious little babies, you know, went through the ration stage, okay? So you can only, you know, I mean, to get a lemon, to buy a lemon was, there we are, very scarce. Do you see what I mean, okay? But what's my point to all of this, my delicious little babies? The point I'm making is that, you know, you can fall in love just by somebody's voice, my delicious little babies. Can you just please just bear with me just a moment, please, and thank you, my little lovelies. I'm sorry about that, my delicious little babies, okay? It's all right. You know that beautiful little pussycat little chin? Oh, she's come to visit us this afternoon. So she's, I don't know if she's got out. I'll have to go and, you know, say to her, sorry, she just came on to the other day. Come down, little baby. Come down, little baby. Go and have something to eat. Go and have something to eat now. Go on, good girl. Go and have something to eat because you've got to get back to your little babies soon. Yeah, she's not long had babies, my delicious little babies, okay? So she's just having some cat at the moment. You know, there was chicken out for her, there's meat out for her, but she wanted some little cat. And every time I was looking at the little biscuits, because she likes to come through the windows to come and say hello. Sometimes she'll have a little snooze and that, but then she goes back home again, my delicious little babies, okay? But every time I was looking at the little box of biscuits, always sparing a thought for our little chin, you know what I mean, okay? Because little Maisie's not that keen, do you know what I mean? She prefers a meat or, you know what I mean? Anyway, sorry about that, my delicious little baby. So, yeah, so anyway, so what's the point here? So, anyway, but no, she's such a sweet little thing. And her family, they're all just so beautiful, you know what I mean? But she's going to need to get back very shortly to feed her little baby. So I'm just wondering if she's got out the window or something. I don't know, you know, because that's what she does. She climbs in one's windows and then climbs back out again, my delicious little babies. Anyway, so what's the point here? I do believe that you can just solely on somebody's voice, or let's just say maybe the way that somebody comes across to somebody else, okay? Because that's, there we are, too, is very important. But for myself, I would never, ever in a million years, ditch somebody at the altar. But of course, what is it all for? Do you know what I mean? Just because you've decided that one's not for yourself. I mean, for myself, the way I see it is that's bringing, there we are, shame on somebody. I mean, because let's face it, you'd never live it down, would you? My delicious little babies, you know what I mean? To be ditched at the altar. I see that, there we are, it's been very cruel. Do you know what I mean? But what's the point, just to end, on this particular video? I do believe, because it's all the way, that you talk to somebody. Do you understand what I mean? Or you communicate with somebody. Do you see what I'm saying to you, my delicious little babies, okay? And, but like I said, you have to look at a number of different, there's a lot of different things here that one has to look at. It is not just solely, I've been done saying this for years, it's not just about what somebody's birth face looks like, whether they've got a nice bum or if they're a woman, I suppose, if they've got nice boobies or a nice, pair of threatening bitch, that was an old-fashioned saying, it's a kind of threatening bitch, or a nice bum or something like that, or legs, whatever, one goes for, you know what I mean? Or if it's, you're looking at a man, you're just looking at his birth race, or you're just looking at the way he dresses, or whatever that may be. No, ones have to, there we are, look beyond that. It's not just about that. You have to see, do you have things in common? Will you be able to work together? Do you see me? It's like my beautiful dear little Nana Bear. Look at me, it's going up. Oh, shook up. Old Elvis, you know what I mean? Anyway, my delicious little babies, it's like my beautiful dear little Nana Bear. My beautiful dear little granddad, he, was not the best at cooking because he'd never been shown. So my beautiful little Nana Bear, there we are, taught him to cook. And she actually said, she says, do you know what? To my beautiful dear little granddad bear, the beautiful little Nana Bear said, she said, I'll tell you what, she said, your cooking, there we are, she said, it is as good as my cooking. Do you see what I mean? And he said, well, he said, there we are, he said, I had a very good teacher. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies, Kai? So it's just like one of those situations. You work together, you have each other's back. Do you see what I mean, okay? But you don't go doing silly things like that now then. Do you know what I mean? If you know that you're not going to be suited to somebody, just be honest. There we are, and just come straight out with it. Yes, it's going to hurt. Yes, it's going to upset. I've been down that road, my delicious little babies, you know what I mean? It's not very nice, no, but you've just got to, there we are, be honest to yourself. And then, at the end of the day, you're never going to go wrong, my delicious little babies. That's just the way I see it. But really good little video, actually. I was rather surprised because I didn't know. Because usually with Dr. Edward Dutton, he usually, the Jolly Heretic, he usually talks about, I don't know, all different sorts of things. I wasn't expecting this at all, my delicious little babies, but a good little video. But yes, I do agree. You can be very attracted, there we are, to somebody just by the sound of their voice. Yes, you can. So I'm fully in agreement with that. So yes, the Jolly Heretic, I'm in total agreement with it, and that's where I'm going to leave that video. And very lastly, my delicious little babies. So this is search engine of your choice, my delicious little babies, okay? And right. So it's called Capital M, It's Together. 2 words together, my delicious little babies. I think I've advertised these before a while back, actually. Media, and then a capital G, giant. Okay? Media giant. 2 words together, my delicious little babies. Then space, bar, bitch, and you should have reached your destination. Okay, my delicious little babies. This uploader happens to have 24.7 thousand subscribers, my delicious little babies, okay? Now then, okay, this video should read, okay, I wasn't smiling then, actually. You know what? I was just still sparing a thought for the Jolly Heretics video of Arzlushtuk Babies. It just made me smile, yeah. Just took my noddle back, actually. You know what I mean? Decades ago. Oh, dearie me. Okay, my delicious babies. This is a lot more serious now. The video should read, okay, my delicious babies. I just go off into my own world sometimes, my delicious babies, okay, are safe. Okay, my delicious babies, so just repeat that again. Are safe. Okay, my delicious little babies. Now then, I'm going to tick that one off. Thank you very much. And then I'm going to close my book, and please, I'll continue to repeat this. We must go backwards. Ones must go backwards. Okay, my delicious little babies. Okay. So this video here is nearly 2.5 hours long, my delicious little babies. Okay, so it is, there we are, a rather long video. But what it is, it's broken up into little bits. Okay, so you've got say the first video, I don't know, off the top of my head, it's about 5 minutes, 6 minutes. Then there's a tiny bit of music, then it shows you the next chapter, and then that could be 4 minutes, and then the next chapter, a bit of music, then it could be 5 minutes, like that. Okay, the one thing I'll actually say is that by no means was this video boring. It was it continuously got my attention, and I did listen to it, there we are, till the end. Okay, I may have been doing all my cleaning and getting all of the things done, but I was very into this video, my delicious little babies. Okay, and it is very enlightening. I'm not going to talk too much about it, okay, because, you know, we know what the crack is here, okay, and of course what's been going on for decades. There we are, so we do know. Okay, my delicious little babies. Okay, but this is an absolutely, there we are, banging video to listen to. It's jam-packed with lots of information. Okay, my delicious little babies, it's absolutely jam-packed with, there we are, with lots of information. Okay, and for those of you who are not, I've seen your woman there before on a couple of other videos, okay, over these years now, okay, because I looked at her and I thought, hold on a minute, I thought I've seen you a couple of times before. Do you see to me? Very interesting video to listen to, my delicious little babies, okay. You'll certainly, there we are, get a world of information from this video, okay. And I strongly suggest that ones do, please and thank you, take a listen to it. It is under health and medical on BitChute, my delicious little babies, okay. It will not be difficult to find at all, my delicious little babies, okay. And of course, you know, that's the end of my video today. Just keep getting home in my but yeah, but the thing is this. So what is it that I want to say before I leave my video to you all today, okay? What I want to say is yes, I will say we need to be very careful with, there we are, what is going into one's bodies, my delicious little babies, okay? That's number one. Number two, you know, for those of you out there, only the lonely, dum, 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 dum. Okay, sorry, I've got a singing voice on, my delicious little babies. All on a serious note, please. You know, I'm not talking about any of our delicious little beautiful babies who are in loving relationships. No, I'm talking about our single delicious little babies. Just please and thank you. There we are. Choose very carefully. That would be, there we are, my sensible message for both videos. You know, well, yeah, I mean, it may be different things, but, you know, morals still the same, really, isn't it? You know, two totally different subjects, but there we are, the morals still the same. Do you know what I mean? Okay? If you get where I'm coming from, there we are. I know what I'm talking about. Yeah, because it's true, really, isn't it? You've got to be careful. You know, don't just meet somebody and just assume that they're hunky-dory, tickety-boo. Do you know what I mean? Like their own shat doesn't stink, my delicious babies. There we are, because everybody's shat stinks. Do you see? I'm just, there we are, just done saying it the way it is, really. Do you see what I mean? Okay. You have to look at many different elements rather than so far down the line that you feel very upset, very disappointed, you know, because nobody likes breaking up. Breaking up is hard to do. You remember that song, Mads? It's just the quote as a cat. Oh, gosh. I'm not laughing about it. I mean, because I suppose it's very serious for some at the time. You know, I mean, some are very broken-hearted, aren't they, my delicious little babies? And of course, that's not very sociable, is it? Do you know what I mean? Nobody likes to really feel like sharp, do they, my delicious little babies? You know what I mean? Because usually in life, you got the dumper and you got the dumpy. Do you know what I mean? I'm sorry, my delicious little babies. I mean, I'm not laughing for, do you know what I mean? But that's the truth, isn't it? So, and this is what I say, you know, one's, you know, you can never ever get bored with one another either. Okay, if you look at some of these, just to finish on this note, if you look at some of these really, really elderly, bless them, and have been married 60, 70 years, do you see what I mean? Now, they can either sit and have a conversation in the same room. One could be in an armchair, the other one could be sat on the sofa. But then they can have other moments where silence is golden, golden. So one may read in a book, maybe, sorry, and the other may be knitting, just as an example, my delicious little babies, but they're comfortable enough, there we are, in their own company. Do you know what I mean? So sometimes not everything requires words. There we are. That's the point I'm making, my delicious little babies. Do you see what I mean? Okay. But if you feel that you have to constantly talk to your significant other at the time, and you have to constantly find things to keep them entertained, well, I do not see that as being the most fruitful relationship, my delicious little babies, because there has to be a point where, there we are, it is chillax. That's what I call it, my delicious little babies. You know what I mean? You got to just chillax. You know what I mean? Just peace, man, peace. Do you know what I mean? Just be comfortable in each other's company. You do not have to be doing this, that, and the next thing every single flipping day of the week, 24/7. Nobody should. Do you know what I mean? Okay. And what's the old-fashioned saying? For some, I mean, it can take a lifetime to get to know somebody. An absolute lifetime. You know, there's some who've been married, 50 years, and they still do not know each other, my delicious little babies. But I will tell you this just before I go. I don't know if I've mentioned this probably a few years ago now, but I was watching, oh gosh, this is going back years ago now. There was this couple where they married 70 odd years, my delicious little babies, and they were asked a question. And I'm going back years and years and years ago now, decades ago, okay? And this is when, you know, you used to watch the box in the corner of the room. And the one who was interviewing this elderly couple said, what is the key, you know, to, well, nothing's perfect, but a near enough perfect marriage? And the dear elderly gentleman, bless, turned around and said, he was sat next to his dear little wife, bless, his dear little wife, okay? And he said, she's always right. That's what he said, Martin. And the one who was interviewed started laughing. Do you know what I mean? Because it's lovely when you talk to the elderly, you know, and they tell you all about their life and they show you the little photographs. It's just such a different time then, do you know what I mean? Okay. But yeah, and she said, sorry, what did you say? And he said, she's always right. You know, he said, as long as my wife is always right, he says, then we just continue the way we are. Okay, and if you look at it, it's very true. Absolutely very true. Do you know what I mean, Martinish babies, okay? I mean, me personally, I've had it said to myself, why do you have to be right all of the time? I said, well, just because I am. Okay, Martinish babies, just because I am. Do you see what I mean, okay? Nobody's right all the time with, you know, like especially with things that are going on in the world. No, but you know, say for example, if you're talking about something and you know wholeheartedly that you're correct, do you know what I mean? And you stand by what you're saying, do you know what I mean? Because you trust that intuition, that what you call your gut feeling, do you know what I mean? And then of course, you know, sometimes you just have to allow somebody to, do you understand what I mean? And then they say, oh, you were right in the first place. I said, well, yes, I know I was. Do you know what I mean? And then, of course, you know, then they say, oh, well, I don't know why you're right sometimes. So, you know, so just for being right, then you get flipping GBH and a flipping ear roll for being right. How does that work then, Martin Stuck Babies? And on that note, I'm going to leave my video, okay? So until my next video to you all, okay? So very much love. I've just flipping gone on, rambled on today, Martin Stuck Babies. Anyway, but we're just having it a little bit lighter, but that second video is extremely serious, okay? On a serious level, okay? But we've had to have a little bit of lightness, okay? But if you was to listen to Jolly Heretic, it's just the way he speaks as well. He's oh so very posh. Very, I call it posh. He's very posh. Do you see what I mean, Martin Babies? Okay, my sister's like that actually. One of my sisters, you know, she you wouldn't think that she and I are from the same family, not at all. You know, because she talks very much the same. Carla. Do you see what I mean? Okay, I just said Carla. Do you know what I mean? I just little babies, I'll just say Carla. Do you know what I mean? But it's just amazing, isn't it? How, you know, accents, you know, how they change as well. Do you see what I mean? My delicious little babies. You know what I mean? Like you could have somebody who, you know, I don't know, could come from a very you know, humble background, my delicious babies, okay? But say, I'm going back decades ago, sorry, my delicious babies, okay? But, you know, and then, of course, say, for example, they go to university. I'm not saying that about everybody because, you know, I know many who have been and graduated at uni, okay? What I'm saying is then you get some where, you know, they've gone from, all right, mate, to, are you all right, my dear friend? So they've completely changed the way that they speak, that one speaks, my delicious little babies. Do you see what I mean? But for myself, no. Because I spent, you know, most of my time as a wee young lass, you know, in Hull, in Yorkshire. So even a big woman, grown woman, I'm grown up, you know, ones would never say to me, I totally sound like a Brummer, because I do not. I've had it said to me there we are that many times, my delicious little babies. Do you see what I mean? Okay, so I'm a little bit half and half. I'm a little bit Brummie and a little bit Yorkshire, Hull. Okay, my delicious little babies anyway, so not to worry. So until my next video, whether it's morning, afternoon or evening, please have a super duper delicious time. You only get one life, okay? Please continue to good vibrations. So much love. I love you all so, my delicious little beautiful honey bunnies that you all are. So until I see you the next time, love ya. Goodbye.